Nacho Sundays, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Live on YouTube on the EBL exclusive Battle League Network. Hosted by Fibonacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sunday.
Nacho Sundays.
Nacho
Where it's not your
Sunday.
opinion, it's Nacho's opinion.
Nacho
Hosted by
Sunday.
Fibonacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme,
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by Fibonacci Brown.
What up, though, family? I don't know what just happened. We're going to try this again.
Nacho Sundays, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Live on YouTube on the EBL exclusive Battle League Network. Hosted by Fibonacci Brown.
Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays, Nacho Sundays. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sunday.
Nacho Sundays. Where it's
Nacho
not your
Sunday.
opinion, it's Nacho's opinion.
Nacho
Hosted by
Sunday.
Fibonacci Brown.
Nacho Sunday. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme,
Nacho Sundays. Where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. Hosted by Fibonacci Brown.
Nacho Sunday. Nacho cheese, beefy, nacho veggie, nacho supreme, nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays.
Hosted by Fibonacci Brown. Don't forget to go to FibonacciBrown.com to get your copy of Growing Down.
Nacho Sundays. Nacho Sundays.
Brought to you by the exclusive Battle League Network. EBL.
What up, though, family? Did you miss me? Tell the truth. I know it's been a very long time, and I promise you there has been so much going on that, listen, I had to take a break. So I want to welcome you guys to episode 12 of season 2 of Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion, and I'm here to give it to you. Listen, there has been so much going on. We have not had a conversation since May, okay? And since May, listen, it's been Diddy, more Diddy, presidential candidates, and then everything just happened all the way up to today. So we're going to talk about some of it. You know how we like to get down and devour our nacho. Okay. But first of all, we got some things we have to get out the way, and that's going to be our announcement. So again, thank you for pulling up to Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And I want to, first of all, in my announcements, I want to thank my followers. I want to thank my chat participants. Those of you who still F with Nacho Sundays, I truly appreciate you. And we are definitely going to be coming to have our nachos on our Sundays like we used to. But again, a lot of things are going on. A lot of things went down. I had to get some personal things together. Been doing some remodeling on my house. I also had some personal romantic things going. I had a wedding. I know you guys are like, Nacho, you've been married. Like, yeah, but I hadn't had the wedding. So I had to have a wedding. And now that that's done, I had a son who had a birthday party, or a birthday rather. So we had to make sure he was taken care of. And my husband's birthday is coming up. So we're going to get that out of the way. But listen, it was a lot going on. And like I said, we're going to talk about it. So first of all, let's get the announcements out of the way. One thing I want to make sure I bring up is the one and the only Miss Vicious. Okay. I know the last time we talked, Miss Vicious was doing her thing in the audio battle rap realm, where she had arguably gone undefeated in audio battle rap. She has since moved to live battles, and she is on her second iBattle. Now, I don't know if you guys know what that means, but this young lady had, I think, 6 or 7 audio battles, and she did her first live battle against I Am Bars. And from what I hear, there were room shakers and schemes to boot, and everybody loved her. So she ended up getting an invite to an iBattle that was, I believe, in New York. And it was live. It was literally outside. I believe that battle was against Key AV. And again, arguably, she's won those battles. So I'm sure that EBL is proud. Exclusive Battle League, if it ain't exclusive, it don't matter. I'm sure they are proud of her and what she has accomplished in her short time doing her battle rap journey. So I brought all of that up because she is going to be appearing on her next iBattle card. It's called the Play with Fire card. Miss Vicious is going to be battling Canal the King. Now, if I'm butchering his name, please forgive me. That is not what I'm trying to do. But his first name is Kunal. So I'm pronouncing that Kunal or Canal the King versus Miss Vicious. So I checked out a couple of his battles, and I hope you know what you're getting into. Please don't come light or unprepared. Miss Vicious is not going to spare you, and I'm looking forward to that battle. iBattle doesn't let down, and I can't wait to be in the EBL gang supporting Miss Vicious on this part of her journey. So good luck to both Kunal the King and Miss Vicious on their battle. I pray that they both do well so you guys can have good footage. But again, that's going to be the Play with Fire card. There are also some other battles on that card. Do yourself a favor and go over to iBattle and check that out. From what I understand, this battle is going to be pay-per-view as well as streamed the first or the second day. This is like a 2-day event on YouTube. Now, this is going to go down on August 17th. It's in Staten Island from 5 to 10 p.m. So this is, again, is going to be outside. I think there's another, I want to say I saw another battle advertised for this card with So Flair Soul. He was battling Knox. Now, I haven't heard of Knox before. Forgive me. But I am familiar with So Flair Soul. So if you guys know anything about either one of these guys, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a good battle. Make sure you pull up to check that out if you're in the Staten Island area. And again, EBL and King and the EBL family, we are all proud of Miss Vicious, and we can't wait to support her on this Play with Fire card. Okay, also, make sure you guys are going over to commodityproductions.com. Commodityproductions.com. The commodity is the hidden hand behind much of the technicalities that go on with EBL events and the like. He is a saving grace. He knows all the buttons and all the lights to turn on or cut off in order to make all the buttons and things tick and work. So make sure you head over to Commodity Productions. He can definitely help you out with your technical needs when you are doing your online events. Also, Exclusive Battle League. Make sure you are following Exclusive Battle League on all outlets. That's a good spot to find all things Miss Vicious, as well as any of our other EBL artists, Jay Normus, Greg the Great. We've got some names over there. So make sure you guys are following on all platforms to keep up with those announcements. as well as the one, the only Beats, Buds, and Bars. Make sure you follow Oflo, EBL Zone on X, formerly Twitter. If you are already following Oflo and you are familiar with Beats, Bars, and Buds, you probably want to make sure you follow or pull up with him today because it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Oflo. Happy birthday to you. I know you have turned 21 again, so live it up, enjoy yourself. Watch out, Philly. It's Oflo's birthday. Moving on, make sure you check out FibonacciBrown.com. Make sure you check out FibonacciBrown.com, where you will find my book, Growing Down. Yes, I am a published author. My book is called Growing Down: An Observation of the Masculinization of the Black American Woman. I'm pretty certain that some of the ideals and opinions that I discuss in that book will definitely ring a bell for what is going on in today's current times. So get your copy. That is still at the introductory rate. You guys have been buying so many of these books that I am keeping it at the introductory rate. And I want to make sure that you get your copy. So make sure you head over to FibonacciBrown.com and get yours. Also, I'm a rap artist. I know you guys didn't think that I was just talking about battle rap because, you know, I just like battle rap. No, I rap. And because I rap, me and my better half, 2-1 the Illuminists, have collaborated on Volume 2, Scription Volume 2, that is. And we have our video out on all platforms. Make sure you check that out. The single is called Oplings. And again, Inscription Volume 2 is the album. You can find the whole album on all of the platforms. Check it out on YouTube. Check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, and so on. And also, we are going to be working on the second video from the Inscription Volume 2 album. So make sure you're following us on all platforms because that's the only way you're going to find out how to get Volume 1. See what I did there? So make sure you're following us so you can get all of that music. And with all of that said, I'm going to slide over to my chat. As you guys know, over here on Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho Opinion is Nacho's Opinion, my chat is a big part of my show. Like, that's just how we get down. So first of all, Viciously Infamous is the first one in the chat, not to be confused with Miss Vicious. Miss Vicious is also a loved member of the EBL family and of the Nacho Sundays family. But Viciously Infamous is also one of our hidden hands and tech personalities that definitely help keep a lot of our behind the scenes things moving. He also does beats and production. So if you're looking for mixes, beats, make sure you get in touch with Viciously Infamous. That's your guy. Okay. He says, hey, yo, you already know it's Sunday with Nacho. I totally appreciate that. Again, I know it's been a long time, guys, but I had a lot of things going on. I had to tackle a lot of different things going. And so with that, I had to put on a lot of different hats. And finally, it's gotten to a point where it can calm down and I can definitely give you a quality Nacho Sunday show because that's all I intend on doing. And yes, it's been entirely too long. EBL exclusive Battle League is in the house. They gave me the eyes like, oh, shoot. My fave 21XL is in the house with the Nacho Sundays. Thank you for pulling up. And then we have the Rack Files. All praises due to the Almighty. Much respect to the chat. EBL salute. Miss Vicious, let's go. Caught the body against her last opponent. Go Miss Vicious. So the Rack Files is talking about how they were able to catch Miss Vicious' last battle. I do believe that was against KAV. And he saying that she caught a body. And listen, I'm not going to argue with you. Like I said, arguably, she's won just about everything I've seen her battle, from audio to the outside space. So if you think she got that last one, I'm listen, I can see how you got there. Okay. But it's I know a lot of people are big fans of KAV. I just want to spend a little bit of time on that before we get into our Nacho. I was and I don't say was, I'm a KAV fan. I saw a few of her battles prior to the battle she had with Miss Vicious. And at the time I saw KAV, Miss Vicious was, I want to say, just barely into uh her takeoff and her journey in battle rap. And she was nowhere near as confident as you see her demonstrate in her more recent battles. And at that time, to me, KAV was a lot more impressive. She had done a battle against one of my faves, Rashad the God. And Rashad the God he just could not believe that, the battle didn't go his way. And I can understand why. He's talented. He is a wordsmith all on his own. So I can understand him feeling that way. And at the time, I was just impressed with KAV and what she did with her rounds against him. But I can't say that I wasn't expecting much of the same against Miss Vicious. So when I saw the battle and I saw how Miss Vicious settled into her comfort zone and how both Miss Vicious and KAV had a fair amount of support in the room, I personally had to give it to Miss Vicious. Now, like I said, I know people are like, I got key on that one. I'm not going to argue with you. It was a good battle. It's just for my personal preference, I'm going to give that one to Miss Vicious. So I'm definitely anxious to see what she does against the Kunal the King on this Play with Fire card, because Mr. Kunal, you are definitely doing that with Miss Vicious. So bring your A game. My bet's on her. I hope you got this. Anywho, back to the chat. Miss Vicious is in our chat. Hello, beautiful. She's saying, hey, Nachi. Oh, my goodness. Yes. How could I forget? One of EBL's beloved, Wayne Almighty. Wayne is consistently putting out music. I think Wayne probably puts out a new song every other day. That might not be an exaggeration, but if you are at all familiar with any of his work, especially one of his more recent works with West Seattle Menace, Wayne has put out West Seattle Menace 2. So if you like the first one, you're going to love the second one. Wayne takes his creativity and cadence and flow style and just turns everything up a notch. It's a banger. It's definitely a summertime banger. Please roll your windows down and turn the volume up. Wayne is not going to let you down. So listen, from what I've announced earlier, you've got one heck of a playlist. You got Scription Volume 2. You got West Seattle Menace 1 and 2. You got battles from Miss Vicious. You got Jay Norman's battles. Listen, you can have you a nice little EBL playlist going on, because I done named quite a bit of music. So check that out. I was talking at one time about doing something called the NACHO stand, where I was going to talk about music maybe on Sunday nights or one other day during the week or night during the week, where we can go over new music and also demonstrate new artists, especially artists who are in the audio sphere. A lot of times they don't get the visuals that some of the other artists who have a little more push behind them get. So I was thinking about doing something called the Nacho Stand. You guys still have to kind of let me know how you feel about that. I know we hadn't talked since May, but if you're still feeling that, you think that'll be a good idea, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know on my social medias, and I will definitely take your opinions into account. I see Miss Vicious is excited that Nacho Sundays is back. She is happy. I can't blame her. I'm happy to be back. I missed you guys. I had a lot going on, but fun Sundays felt funny without talking to you guys. So I'm glad we could be back here talking and having our nacho together. All right, moving on into our nacho cheese. And for my nacho-tarians, you guys know that the nacho cheese is where we talk about money, how our money is affected, how we can save it, how we can be smart about spending it. And this week, I want to talk about something I heard in a chat on one of my social medias. I had popped into a group, and this group was talking about, I want to say it's a quote. I don't know where it's from. Forgive me. There was a gentleman who was talking. It was a clip that everybody had seen. And this gentleman was talking, and one of the things he said is that this will be the first generation of Black people who didn't do better than the previous generation / their parents. And that particular statement sparked quite the conversation in this particular group chat that I was in. Some of the questions were asked, why do we think that's the case? What can we do to change that? And how do we improve the financial sustainability of future generations? And lastly, are young people being taught responsibility and longevity? So here was what some of the conversation was when people were asking, why do we think this is the case where the current generation won't do better than their parents, which is, I want to say like a first in tracking this type of data. This is the first time that this has come up. Usually generation over generation, the current generation tends to do financially better than the previous generation when they meet the same ages. So this group at 25 versus the current group at 25, or the parents group at 30 versus the children group at 30. And they're saying that we won't be as successful. And when asked why, I heard everything from it's because of turn-up culture. It's because of the doing me culture. People are too entitled. And another one I heard was it's because of hypersexuality. So I want to talk about these. Okay, let me get my tea. Did y'all get y'all some tea before you sat down here? When you know Nacho be talking, we got to talk about it. Get you something to drink. I got my hibiscus and clove tea. A little bit of honey in there. It's good. Anywho, turn-up culture. So the reason they were able to correlate turn-up culture to the failing success of current generations was because they say that this generation spends entirely too much money on things that don't matter. Things like going to parties, clothes, alcohol, food, things that aren't really going to appreciate and purchase or in purpose, or that it's only like single use. You know, this is not like you're going to carry something or have a takeaway from using this thing once you use it. So it was saying, you know, the focus just wasn't there. You spend entirely too much time allowing the nightlife and the gotta be out every weekend and the weekend drinking to kind of become too much of a lifestyle to where you aren't focused on spending your money wisely, smartly, investing, things that can be done with your money outside of partying. The other connection was entitlement. Said that the previous generation did more collaborative financial efforts. You found more people willing to come together to pool their funds in order to collaborate on an asset so that everybody could ultimately benefit from that collaboration. Currently, the discussion was basically saying that entitlement, or I'm doing me, people have made entirely too much of the I'm doing me lifestyle, and ultimately that has taken away from focus on the future, focus on building and having a good foundation in order to be able to ensure a solid future. And I agree with that to an extent, because you do have, I really do think that once that whole I'm doing me phase came upon people, I think some people got stuck there. I think some people got to the point where they thought doing me was a lifestyle and didn't necessarily understand that doing me was a piece of the process. It wasn't the end goal. Sometimes the focus on doing me is so that you can retrain yourself to appreciate yourself, count on yourself, and love yourself. But at some point, there should be some auto reflex that you're already operating in to where you know to do those things that will allow you to grow to the next phase. Okay, now that I know how to be good to myself, now that I know how to appreciate and love myself, I can extend this beyond myself. So I can learn how to love other people. I can learn how to be a good person to other people. So it's, doing me is not a place you hang out and stay. It's a piece of the process. And I think too many people thought doing me was just where you stay. You just do you, and you do you to the end of you. And no, that's not the case. You're supposed to be able to do you, to teach yourself how to love yourself, in case you forgot. And then once you realize how you should be loving yourself, treating yourself, respecting yourself, you can extend that beyond yourself to other people. And I think a lot of times we get stuck and don't know how to extend beyond them. It's kind of like when you ever talk to a friend on your birthday, and you're like, oh, this is the best birthday ever. I'm having such a good time. This dinner was so good. And then you got a friend that's like, when we have dinner on my birthday, I'm going to do this. And when it's my birthday, like they can't let you have your moment. That's somebody who got stuck in the doing me phase of life and didn't realize it was supposed to go beyond them. You're supposed to grow past that. Once you love yourself, you're supposed to learn how to love other people and realize how tacky it is to not let people have their moment. It doesn't have to be about you. But a lot of times you get people who get stuck there. And because they get stuck in this doing them phase of things, they tend to, it's almost like a box. And not only are they doing them, but they are overindulging in pleasures. So what I mean by that is that, maybe you're buying too many handbags. Maybe you're buying too many shoes. Maybe you go shopping too much. Maybe you're blowing money on fancy dinners or champagne at the clubs and bars, and you want to be seen, so you have to have all these accoutrements around you when you go out. And ultimately, you can't get those bottles of champagne back. You've already worn the outfit, so much for getting anything back on that. You wore the shoes, you carried the bag, and you end up spending money on things that don't have any ROI for you. Nothing comes back with a return on investment. So it becomes a bad investment. And when you look at what I'm going to call hypersexuality, that kind of ties into the overindulgence in pleasures. A lot of times you find people are doing things to be hypersexual, and it tends to be overwhelming when it comes to engaging that person. Like it used to be, you had a friend you could hang out with, you guys could talk, kick it, and everything could be normal. But it seems like with the introduction of hypersexuality, you have women who want to, as a wardrobe choice, dress provocatively. They are online on social media spaces constantly. That's where they pick up dates or men or people who may be interested in engaging them, and maybe having them do walkthroughs at their club because maybe they're a social influencer. You even have people doing OnlyFans, and they think this is a way to get money. And because that's the level of effort into the overindulgences in this hypersexuality era we're in, you don't have as many focuses on things like investments, starting large companies, STEM projects. People aren't going towards STEM, they're going towards OnlyFans, and it's getting out of hand. So when you look at what's happening to these generations, why the current generation won't do better than their parents, those were some of the things that came up. And I can't say that I disagree with some of those things. Now, true enough, there are other reasons, there are other contributing factors, but the three that I mentioned, entitlement, turn-up culture, and hypersexuality, I think those contribute in a major way. And if we don't get a hold of those things, if we don't kind of get some discipline about ourselves when it comes to turning up every weekend, destroying our bodies, getting drunk, and being entitled, thinking that everything is about us when it's not, and hypersexuality, where we are barely covering ourselves and thinking it's appropriate to be out here in see-through clothes so we can get attention and be seen. If we don't get a hold of those things, we're not going to be able to get enough of the attention of the current generation to get them focused on things that matter, like land ownership, growing your own food. How do you purify water? Things that are going to be necessary when nobody cares what your outfit looks like or who made it. We're coming close to that. I read an article where they talked about how name brands are getting concerned because their sales are dipping with accessibility online to be able to buy from online brands. Many of these name brands who we were used to seeing in the past, maybe 10 years ago, they are not doing as well as they used to because people are finding other avenues of fashion and they are purchasing from them, and in their eyes it's a much more better fit, much more luxury feel. Maybe some of these pieces are nobody else has them, they're custom made. It's giving a challenge to those name brands out there. So when it comes to what we are used to from 10 years ago, big difference now, and we've got to find a way to refocus on building a strong financial future. So one of the things that came up is, how do we change that, and how do we improve the financial stability of future generations? What do we do about it? Well, I'm suggesting financial literacy. And financial literacy in places that I believe people spend a lot of their time that don't involve social media. Church. I think churches, especially churches in urban neighborhoods or neighborhoods that 5 to 10 years ago were predominantly Black or are currently predominantly Black. And I'm saying predominantly Black because those are the neighborhoods that tend to get affected when there is some economic downturn. Anytime some economic downturn happens, it hits those communities the hardest. So that's why I keep saying, though, in the Black communities and Black churches, financial literacy should be taught in the churches. I think if you're going to ask someone for their money in your church, you're going to pass a little plate around to collect money, you need to teach people how to budget your portion. If you feel you deserve one, why not educate the people? I think we also need to do better about the syllabus in our school systems, K through 12. I think we need to start earlier with educating children in grade school students about finance. We can't keep teaching them about Picasso and all these people that they don't care about, and here they can't figure out how to complete their taxes on their check that they got after they got a job at 18 when they graduated high school, and they don't know what taxes are really, because they don't know why they have to have money taking out of their check when they feel like they worked all the hours, they should get all the money. Like those are things that I think should be talked about in high school early, not even just high school. Introduce those things in grade schools, in elementary school, in middle school, and build upon those things so that when the kid graduates, they can be an effective contributing citizen and not someone who feels like we just threw them out after 12th grade and now they don't know how to do anything. They can't make a pancake. They can't feed themselves. They don't know how to cook, nothing. So I think that we should start earlier in our school systems by revamping our curriculums to include financial literacy. I also think that there needs to be agricultural inclusivity when it comes to grade school through high school. Those things, I believe, will allow the current generations to see the importance of being able to have a strong foundation and being able to have some foothold on your future, meaning how you're going to eat, how you're going to make money, understanding money, what to do with it when you get it, budgeting, planning. That's the stuff you should be talking about in school. And if you're not, it's kind of a waste. It's one of the reasons I see a lot of parents who decided to homeschool in the first place. They weren't satisfied with the education that was being given to their kids in the public school system. So I'm going to say the way that we can kind of strengthen the financial future, definitely start teaching financial literacy earlier in the schools, in the churches, in the schools. I'm sure that my listening audience may have additional ideas, and I'm definitely open to them. I see Jay Normus is in my chat. Salute, Jay Normus. Thank you for pulling up with us on Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And we're going to take a small break. And when we come back, we are going to be ready to dig into our beefy nacho. And I'm sure you guys are going to want to stay tuned for that one. The beefy nacho is going to be Trump versus Kamala. I'm here for it, you guys. So let's go ahead and take this break, and we'll see you back in a few minutes.
You are now listening to the NACHO podcast, brought to you by the EBL Network. If it ain't exclusive, it don't matter.
A woman is the most potent expression of feminine energy in the harmonic equation of the human experience. Growing Down, an observation of the masculinization of the Black American woman. Volume 1. Get your copy at FibonacciBrown.com.
Refuge in my mental. This wish a nigga was central. Make sure it's holy in your temple. You a vegetable when I'm in the room, and I'm vegetarian when I eat my food. Palms together when I pray on you, cause the chef about to use her favorite tool. Chop, cut, slice, dice. Shit, I ain't even got a knife. Seem like when I spell it in a rhyme, I cut a motherfucker up and serve him over rice.
You are now listening to the NACHO podcast, brought to you by the EBL Network. If it ain't exclusive, it don't matter. It's not your time to talk, it's time to listen. So pull up to the table with your plate and pay attention. It's not your time to talk, not your Sunday. It's something different. This is not your opinion, and you don't wanna miss it. It's not your time to talk. It's time for the show.
Welcome back, y'all. Thank you for sticking around after the break. You are here on episode 12, season 2 of Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And we are just about to dig into our nacho. We already got our nacho cheese, and now we are at the beefy nacho. And in this week's beefy nacho, where we talk about conflict wherever it may exist in the world, this week's conflict is the hottest conflict out on any media platform thus far, and that is Trump versus Kamala. Now, listen, I know you guys are over here for Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. I get it, but I want to hear from you, because I'm having a hard time with some of the things that I've been hearing about our two candidates. I've heard that Trump, people are not going to vote for him or not going to support Trump because they feel that he's lied about his taxes. They think that he's a racist. And they also said they didn't appreciate him talking about grab him by the cooter. Can I say cooter on YouTube? Is cooter a bet? I don't know. We might be beeping that one. But anyway, those were the gripes. I'm not going to lie. Some of the issues I have with that gripe is that when Trump was approached for cheating his taxes, he was he basically let the cat out of the bag. He said, I'm not cheating my taxes. I'm using the same loopholes that those are accusing me of cheating use. And if they don't want me using those loopholes, make better laws. But they won't, because then they won't be able to utilize them loopholes themselves. And I don't think that's a bad answer. I mean, who isn't out here trying to look up UCC codes in order to make sure that they are not being taken advantage of when it comes to tax codes? And listen, I got this book. I don't know if you guys can see this, Meet Your Straw Man. Like, we're always out here trying to find ways in order to not get bent over at tax time. So I'm not entirely too upset about that answer. The whole grab them by the cooter thing. It's disrespectful. It just is. It's disrespectful that he said it. It's disrespectful that he thought it. And it's disrespectful that he decided to share it as a way to engage women. I'm also going to say that earlier, or back in the nacho cheese, I had mentioned hypersexuality. And our other candidate, Kamala Harris, she didn't say anything about grab them by the cooter. She went and got the captain of the cooters and got her to sing at the presidential rally. The WAP candidate is some of the names that I heard Kamala call. So on one hand, it's like, no, he said grab him by the cooter. And on the other hand, you have the whole, wop, 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 wobble, wobble, wop, wop lady for the other candidate. So, where are we at on that? I'd rather him say it than do it. But that's just me. I think that, sometimes when you have hypersexuality, you can't have it both ways. It's kind of like the Dave Chappelle joke. Dave Chappelle was talking about how he put on this cop uniform, like a costume. And these people came over running to him. Oh, officer, thank you so much. Please help us. We need some help over here. And he said, just because I am dressed this way doesn't mean. And although he looked like a police officer, in that particular instance, he wasn't. He was just wearing the costume. I think in this instance, there's a lot of wearing of the costume. You understand what I mean? And because that costume is being worn like that, we get confused on what's what. So if it's not just grab them by the cooter, don't go get the WAP singer to run your presidential rally or to entertain your presidential rally. She was twerking. Her dancers were twerking. Like, can we pause there for a second? Twerking at a presidential, there was nothing presidential about that rally. Some discussion. We're gonna get to Kamala again. We were on Trump. A lot of people thought it was distasteful that he brought out Amber Rose, who had something to say at one of the Republican rallies. And although I am not a Amber Rose fan. I'm not a fan of the slut walk. I think it was an awful and degrading way to project feminine empowerment. I thought it was a weak rung of the ladder to stand on when it came to talking about strong women and behaving like strong women. And I was more than surprised to see her speak at the Republican rally. However, Amber Rose had all her clothes on. She wasn't wiggling nothing. And truthfully speaking, I liked what she had to say. So, again, I'm not mad at Trump about that. And then Then we get to this racist accusation. And I know I look, I know I look good for my age. But I remember when all the rappers couldn't wait to beat Trump. He didn't become a racist until he had an opportunity to be president. And I just thought that was really strange. Trump has been mentioned, I believe, they said over 300 rap songs. I remember Nelly was singing, Bill Gates, Donald Trump, let me in now. We couldn't wait to be next to Trump. We was dropping his name in the songs, we banging and blasting out of our cars. And as soon as he gets an opportunity to be president, now he's a racist. So when I asked people, well, how is he racist? What was he racist? They brought up the Central Park Five. And I had the opportunity to hear some things that Trump had to say about the Central Park Five. And I never hear people mention what he said when he was questioned about it. And I'm a little torn about what he said. I kind of get it, but what do you expect? But anywho, in a nutshell, I'm paraphrasing. Donald Trump basically, when questioned about the Central Park Five and him being a racist, he was suggesting that these young men were picked up by the police not for the crime they were accused of, but these boys were actually committing crimes. It's just that they weren't the crimes they were picked up for. So if they got picked up for beating somebody up, maybe they didn't beat somebody up, but they did set the store on fire. Or maybe they didn't commit assault, but they did rob some old lady's purse. And again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying that this is what those boys did, but this was Donald Trump's reasoning that maybe they weren't picked up for the correct crime, but it's not to say that they did not commit a crime. And again, I'm kind of torn on that. I see what he's saying, but I'm far from attaching that to him being a racist. When I asked other people why was he racist, nobody could really give me solid foundation because this was a new revelation. Black people had always supported Trump. He was in all the pictures with the Black people. Now all of a sudden, because he wanted to be president, they had all these racist accusations. Another issue I have is that much of what we hear about Trump currently as this campaign goes on with him and Kamala, people are forgetting Trump was president before. Like he did this before. Like he's already been the president. We don't have to be surprised. We don't have to wonder what it's going to be like. You do know he was president already. So I find it kind of strange how people will try to fearmonger other people he's going to tear down businesses and, Black people won't get nothing. And it's like, y'all do know he was the president before. Like none of that happened when he was president before. It was a whole lot more money in the street when he was president before. Like, why do y'all act like we don't know this or we didn't go through a presidency with him? So I just think that's kind of strange when it comes to evaluating this whole campaign. Moving over to Kamala, some of the challenges people have when it comes to presidential candidate Kamala Harris. She lied about listening to Tupac. Now, she made the statement that she used to listen to Tupac in college. And I think when somebody did the math, Tupac was probably like 14 or somewhere around. He wasn't even famous yet. So how were you listening to Tupac in college? She lied about her race. Kamala got onto the Breakfast Club. She said that she's a Black woman. She's going to die a Black woman and can't nobody tell her nothing different. Meanwhile, the larger portion of society accepted that she was a Black woman because her father is Jamaican. Going deeper, her father was born in Jamaica. However, he is part Irish, part Hindu Indian. Going deeper, Kamala's father, who I believe is a Stanford professor, admitted that his Irish side of the family actually owned slaves. Going even deeper, this Jamaican-born Irish/Hindu man never on anything ever identified as a Black man. So I'm not sure how you get that she's Black because of her Jamaican father who never identified as Black is beyond me. So she's lied about her race. The Black scent. She's going to different parts of the country, and depending on who she's talking to, where she's speaking, she has a Black scent that comes out. We gonna do the same in 2024. You know, I don't know any Hindu Indians that talk like that, but here we are. So the Black scent is kind of is giving Drake, you know, but you know, she also again, she had the whole the Meg the Stallion entertainment piece at her presidential rally, which I thought was just completely distasteful. It was so highly inappropriate. There were so many other ways to connect to an audience. And of all the beautiful Black female entertainers that you could have reached out to connect with Black women, the insulting piece that you would pick Megan the Stallion to connect with Black women, shame on you, Kamala. Pandering at its finest. You're an embarrassment. Anywho, she's the border czar. So as vice president, she's supposed to be the border czar regarding the safety and strength of our borders. And since she's been in that position, our borders have arguably been the weakest they've ever been. We have, I'm seeing a lot of media circulating, talking about how we have an immigrant problem where violence has an uptick in certain areas where these immigrants are showing up. And nobody's talking about it. They're trying to make it seem like, oh no, crime went down. And, you know, we've got people running around the streets with swords and harming people. You didn't have people with swords running around the street 5-10 years ago. But ever since these borders got weakened, here we are. Kamala also said that she hadn't been to the border. That pissed off a number of voters, where they felt that if you're supposed to be the czar of a situation, you at least need to get boots on the ground to see what it looks like. How do you protect something you never seen? When she was questioned about it, she said, well, I haven't been to Europe either. I don't see the point of the question. And that right there is the issue. The fact that you don't understand why someone would ask you about, have you been to the border or not, and you're the border czar, and you don't see the point of the question speaks volumes to your strategic prowess regarding protection of those borders. Also, she made the statement, I believe it was in that same interview, where she said, no, I'm not going to do nothing just for Black people. If we do one thing to help Black people, it should help all people. Everybody gets lifted up. Basically, Black people need to count on catching the crumbs of whatever Kamala implements, because we are a default. We're not the inspiration, the reason. She don't see a point. We don't have to do nothing specifically for Black people. Whatever we do for everybody, Black people will get it too. So we have to sit under the table like this, hoping to catch crumbs of whatever legislation she does choose to be passionate enough about to get passed. Meanwhile, Kamala is the United States vice president, and under her watch, there were laws passed just for Asians. You know, we had Asian hate out there for about 20 minutes. And before you knew it, there were laws passed, sanctions passed, penalties, all types of things just for the Asian community. There were laws passed just for the LGBTQ community. There are health laws now in effect that offer them services and things that nobody did anything specific for us. So she can do things, but she can sit under a presidency and support things that do things specifically for other groups of people. But when it comes to the group of people that she claims to be from, she's not going to do nothing specifically for them, for Black people. I can't get behind someone who will cosplay Black people and then spit in our face and say, well, I'm not going to do nothing specifically for you. Okay. That's how I feel about your vote. I'm not going to vote specifically for you, Kamala. I'm not going to do nothing just for you. So she's already excluded herself just on what has come out of her own mouth, not even in comparison to her opponent. Just in what she said out of her own mouth, she makes me completely uncomfortable as a leader. I have taken the approach of evaluating the candidates like basically if I'm going to go on a date with them or not. And when it comes to comparing Kamala to Trump, Trump looks like a better date. Kamala's lying about listening to Tupac. There's no telling what else you're going to lie about. I see a couple of folks in my chat. Capology Facts said, Queen Nachi, long time no see. Hope all is well. These are going fantastic. Capology, thank you so much for checking in. Also, he said, don't get me started on her bullshit. Well, this is the place for it. You know, I know this is not your Sundays where it's not your opinion. It's not your opinion. But, you know, my chat is a very important part of our show. So if you got something to say, come on over here and say it. This is where we do this at. This is a safe place. I see 2-1 is in the chat also. He's talking about brainwashing is real. And this is true. When you look at some of the things that people believe about some of these candidates, Trump being a racist or Kamala being Black, brainwashing at its finest, I have to agree. Also, the question came up, do people care that Kamala lied about being Black more than they care that she's a woman? Now that I thought was an interesting question because a lot of Black women are attacking other people, men and women, who do not support Kamala and suggesting that they hate Black women and they don't want to support a Black woman. And because they are not supporting Kamala, their grandparents, mothers and aunts, grandmothers and the like would be disgusted and disappointed in them for tearing this Black woman down like this. So are we as interested and invested in Kamala being a Black woman as we are in her just being a woman? Because I think there's a lot of people who are still caught up in the hype and believe that Kamala is a Black woman. She is not. And I also think there's a group of people who just want a woman in office. They don't care about her policies. They don't care what she stands for. No tangible. She doesn't have to come offering anything. And I'm just trying to understand, is it because we want a woman in office, or is it because we want a Black woman in the presidential office? So I'm kind of torn on that one. I really wish that a lot of the conversation that I'm seeing when it comes to Black women having support for Kamala, I wish they would learn to see past their passions. I had a woman accuse me of hating because, you know, why am I hating on Kamala? And I'm a sister too. Like, how dare I as a sister too? And I basically had to tell her, you know, miss me with that sister stuff. I'm not standing with everybody who thinks they're a sister. I'm standing on the side of righteousness. So you can miss me with that and miss me with that you a sister too judgment. Everything with a coochie is not my sister. I stand on the side of righteousness. I've met some evil women. I personally believe that Kamala is one of them. That's not my sister. Now, that has nothing to do with what color she is, because I have sisters of all types of colors: Indian, white, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Black. Like I have all types of people that I get different feminine perspectives from when it comes to race. So I'm not discriminating against this woman because of her race. I'm discriminating against her because she lied about it. You're going to clout chase being a Black woman. You're going to clout chase being a woman just to get a vote for a job you ain't qualified for. You laughed at people who asked you about locking up Black men for smoking marijuana, possessing marijuana, selling marijuana. And then you laughed and made fun about smoking marijuana yourself. Half my family's Jamaican. Are you kidding me? And you thought it was funny. It's not funny. When you were asked about the border and seeing the border, and you said you hadn't been down there and you laughed, it's not funny, Kamala. It's not. And I don't understand why it's okay to blow it off. I've noticed that she also has received quite a bit of support from the Greek organizations, the Greek letter organizations, fraternities and sororities. Hello from Florida. I do see you in the chat. Thank you so much for pulling up to Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho opinion is Nacho's opinion. Thank you for joining us. Anywho, so I've seen a lot of the Greek fraternities and sororities supporting Kamala, and I have always struggled a little bit with the understanding of wanting to be a part of the Greek fraternities and sororities. Most times when I ask about it, I've always been given the answer that it's the network is unmatched. You know, you do it to expand your network. You get a lot of help in sisterhood or brotherhood, and I can kind of understand that. I just don't understand why we have to masquerade as Greeks to get that. Why can't we just come together and do that anyway? Anywho, I'm seeing a lot of those fraternity and sorority participants beating up on other Black people who are not a part of the fraternity sorority families because they are not supporting Kamala, as if they've done something wrong by not agreeing with them. And for me, I think when you try to use your network, your Greek network, to put pressure on people to feel a certain way, that's not righteous in my eyes. And listen, I know this is this is Nacho Sundays. Where's Nacho opinion? It's Nacho's opinion. You're already cosplaying, playing Greeks. I'm not getting ready to get bullied to get behind a woman cosplaying being a Black by somebody cosplaying being Greek. I said it. Shame on y'all. Shame on all of you who utilize that network to pressure other Black people into feeling like they're doing something wrong by not being pressured by your Greek ideologies from your fraternities and sororities, and instead of standing on the side of righteousness. Shame on you. That's the same reason why you got Black people voting Democrat and don't even understand how it's hurting their political projections. But I digress. So yes, that is our beefy nacho, Trump versus Kamala. You are definitely entitled to your own opinions, but here I just laid out some of the things that a lot of people are saying and discussing when it comes to these presidential candidates. I am undecided. Okay, I'm definitely not going to vote for Kamala. I'm torn between Trump and the write-in. I just don't trust anything at this point. The thing that scares me about Trump is that he's a Republican. And I just feel like Republicans and Democrats are two wings on the same bird. And it gives me pause. Just because one happens to be sneakier than the other doesn't mean they should get away with anything. So that's where I'm at. You know, please feel free to leave your comments in the chat. We will definitely be going to our chat right now to check out what some of you have been thinking about some of the discussion here on Nacho Sundays, whereas Nacho opinion is Nacho's opinion. And Capology Facts, the great K-Dot said the real end challenge, she needs all these Black features to make her Black enough. She using us. She is a colonizer. Period, point blank. You got to know a colonizer when you see one. Kamala didn't even go, she doesn't have a growing up experience in America. Rachel Dolezal has a better Black experience than the one Kamala is trying to sell us with this narrative. If Kamala was connected at all to Black people, she would have known how stupid it was to lie about listening to Tupac. People in America are Tupac drunk, especially Black folks. You don't think we know everything there is to know about Tupac? You don't think we're going to go look it up? You think that we would support someone who embarrassed the Jamaican side of their family on a nationally syndicated radio station just to convince people that you knew about marijuana? My family is Jamaican. Are you kidding me? And not to mention how she be sounding drunk sometimes in these interviews. With the swipe of my pen, I got power to, like, was it tequila or Hennessy, honey? Light or dark liquor? Because you drunk. I digress. Let's get into our veggie nacho where, I'm sorry. Before we get into the veggie nacho, let me tap back into my chat. I had a few more comments I wanted to go over. Florida said that Harris will not win in November. I agree. I don't think she has a snowball's chance. You understand? I'm not seeing it. Capology said that she had parents locked up for their kids that skipped school. Why would you lock up a parent whose kids skip school? Creating a much more problematic situation, problematic home situation, than if you would have just had some conversation with the parent. This is the woman who implemented truancy officers. Do you guys remember that conversation? I'm telling you, look into this lady. She's not what you think. Florida said, we need Trump. Capology said that anyone who votes for Kamala isn't Black. If you believe she Black, then you're not for us. I'm going to tend to agree with Capology facts, and I'm going to add to that to say you're not like us. When we were talking about when Kendrick said they not like us, he was talking about you, Kamala. Like, girl, bye. Y'all listen, I'm trying real hard to be biased. But this is Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. And I said what I said. So there's that. It's 12% of Black people in this country, but they make it feel like it's our vote that they need to win. Is crazy to me. You know, we might be 12% of the population in the country, but we are definitely 110% of the energy. And because a lot of the things that tend to get pushed culturally by Black people, they tend to get accepted by everyone. And that's on a global scale. So it's no mistake that they are trying to make sure that Black people look like they are supporting certain candidates through certain narratives. What they can't hide is the CGI that makes it look like they have full rallies when they don't. They can't hide the fact that people are walking out of these rallies when the entertainment leaves. The Michigan rally for Kamala, which I am at, I'm in Michigan, I'm in Detroit. I was told that this rally was in Wayne. And in Wayne, Michigan, it was, I want to say they said barely 100 people. Trump, on the other hand, had a rally in Michigan, and there were 2,500 people, or it's how I think it was like 2,500 people inside, or they tried to get 2,500 people inside, and there were a whole nother 2,000 people that couldn't get in. Like, they're not reporting that. So there are definitely narratives that are being put out there to shape what the larger public thinks about the candidates. Kamala got into this position in nothing less than shady paths, because nobody voted for her. I'm a registered voter. Ain't nobody vote for her. She just showed up when 2024. Nobody vote for her. So this whole thing is strange. And people are even getting into the facts that they believe it is almost playing out biblically. Now, what I'm thinking about doing, because this is going to be an ongoing discussion, we may have the beefy nacho be the presidential discussion until it happens, because this is something I think we need to talk about. I think people want to talk about it and share their opinions, get some of the pressure off their chest about not being heard when it comes to what they believe about the candidates. Again, I'm not convinced either. Well, I am convinced that I'm not going to vote for Kamala, but I'm not convinced on Trump, and I don't know who I would look at as a write-in outside of me for president. Hey, but I'm just joking with y'all. But again, I think this night needs to be the beefy nacho going forward for a couple of episodes, so we can kind of chop it up in an effective way and have this discussion. But not to linger too long, I want to move on to the veggie nacho, where we talk about health. And in the veggie nacho this week, our question is, where is Dr. Fauci? Folks had Dr. Fauci down as their regular doctor, okay? We ain't seen this man. We heard a little bit from Dr. Fauci back on my birthday, June 3rd, where he was testifying about the safety of the parameters taken during CV-19, okay? There was some discussion that social distancing really was ineffective. And on the list of ineffective were the masks. People were showing experiments of sneezing through the masks and the sneeze and germs coming through the masks. So putting them on didn't really stop anything. And from what I understand, Dr. Fauci was asked about those things, and his answers were not favorable to the protocols that we ultimately ended up taking. Since Biden has stepped down, that's a whole nother topic, y'all. But since Joe Biden has stepped down, which did allow for Kamala to even be considered in the running, so did Dr. Fauci. Okay. Dr. Fauci said that he will be stepping down in December from chief medical advisor to Joe Biden. And he will also be stepping down from the NIAID after 38 years. That is the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. So after 38 years, Dr. Fauci is like, I'm just going to step down. Biden don't need me no more. The pandemic is over. I don't have to force anything on people. So I'm going to step down. Now, you might be thinking, well, Dr. Fauci looks like he's kind of up there in age, Maybe he just wants to take a break. He's ready to retire. Fauci said he's ready to move on to the next chapter in his life. Okay. And he's got other things that he wants to do. And so he's going to start focusing on those things. He also said that he fears health misinformation once he steps down. The nerve of him to be concerned about health misinformation once he steps down. This is Nacho Sundays. Where's Nacho opinion? It's Nacho's opinion. And listen, Dr. Fauci, considering all that stuff you forced on us with social distancing, masks, some people even set up hotlines to tell on people who were sneezing in public. The inconvenience that you created for us for a year and a half to 2 years, the education that was missed from people not being in school, the memories that weren't made for kids who didn't get a chance to graduate and a traditional way, go to prom, go to homecoming, colleges, same thing, their homecomings and the like not being traditional because of this pandemic. Just to find out that the steps that we took and the things that we did didn't even have the safety effects that they were being narrated to have. Shame on you, Dr. Fauci. Now, a lot of people are saying, he's in jail. He went to jail for all of that stuff. What I found is that I couldn't find anything that said he was in jail, but I found plenty of things where there were people who questioned him during this testimony, and they said he should be in jail. So from what I found, I didn't find anything to say he was in jail, but people definitely want him in jail. They feel like he did crimes against humanity, being the face of this whole, the health face of this whole pandemic. So Dr. Fauci will be stepping down. as the NIAIA head for after 38 years. And he's also going to be stepping down as Joe Biden's medical advisor. Now, if there's anything criminal, Fauci need to be arrested for trying to force Joe Biden on us as a healthy president. 3 weeks ago, I was in the car and I listened to a commercial where there was a woman, sounded like a grandmother, and she's talking about Joe gets the job done. He's getting the jobs done, and he does the job. Like, that was your push to get us to vote for Joe Biden, when we could see with our own eyes that Joe Biden had definitely deteriorating faculties about himself. And for him to suddenly quit, first of all, Joe Biden knew he had no business running in the first place. To get in the office and quit, you already left a bad taste in my mouth about Democrats. Y'all quitters. That's the first thing. And then the person you endorse is a whole ass liar. Okay, lies. I listened to Tupac. I'm not drunk. And I'm sure I had my little fist up saying I went freedom. And she stole that story. That story about the whole, I had my fist up saying that was Dr. Martin Luther King's story. She stole that story. So she's out here plagiarizing stuff. She's lying. She's doing anything for a vote. And she's pandering in the most disgusting way possible. Black women, she thought that in order to relate to you, she could put somebody out there who sings about their WAP and you would just come by the droves. The reason why she's trying to get your Black woman's vote is because there were, I think, the statistic was nearly 10 million new Black female registered voters. And they believe that Kamala will capture that crowd for them in order to bring voting and the energy to the Democratic side. I doubt it. Anywho, so Dr. Fauci is stepping down. I don't know if we're ever going to see Dr. Fauci again in the capacity that we saw him during the pandemic, but I would not count him out of being seen. I think he's going to be up to some new things. I think considering the whole, if you've watched some of my past Nacho Sundays, you know that Bill Gates is buying all the farmland. He wants to grow his own type of apples. They're not doing GMO anymore. They're doing RNA resistant. So with this RNA resistant stuff and Bill Gates being at the head of it, I think he's going to probably be looking to get Dr. Fauci on the payroll to push this on us and be the face of the narrative. That's just my guess. I'm not saying that this is anything that I've seen in the news. This is just Nacho Sundays, where it's Nacho opinion is Nacho's opinion. That's my opinion. That's what I think is about to happen. And with that, we're going to slide over to the chat for just a second. I see that Exclusive Battle League has pulled up. Thank you for joining us on this Nacho Sundays. 2-1 said that we are 70% of the country. Now, that's what I've always thought. Like I don't understand how we could become 12% of a country that we were already in before anybody who came over here counting us was counting us. Make it make sense. So yes, I agree with you 1,000% there too. Exclusive Battle League. She told the people to stay woke. People need to be insomniacs when it comes to her. You cannot sleep on this woman because she is going to sneak around, screw around, and before you know it, she'll be a presidential candidate. Y'all better stay woke. That's probably the smartest thing she said this whole time she's been in politics. Now, I didn't get into her past. And like I said, I think I'm going to make this a part of the Beefy Nacho going forward because this is going to be a hot topic. This is going to be something that's going to be on the tips of the tongues of everybody who is even paying this much attention to the political arena. So I think until November sometime when we get that presidential announcement, I think I'm going to be making this a part of the Beefy Nacho. So with that said, we're going to get over into the Nacho Supreme, which is the knowledge nugget, things we wish we knew when we were younger or things that we can use to make this thing we call life better. And in this week's Nacho Supreme knowledge nugget, we are not forgetting to invest in ourselves. Don't forget to invest in yourself. You can buy as many assets as you want, but you cannot buy self-discipline. And self-discipline, whether you are too tired to do it, whether you don't feel like doing it, is definitely an investment into yourself. Everyone is not able to stick to a discipline of self. Many times people have to have someone make them do it. You know, oh, I've got to go into a gym. I need my trainer, or I've got to do it when my trainer does it, or I won't do it. Or, you know, I've got to go and run around the track at the high school with my friend. If I don't have a buddy, I can't do it. Self-discipline is gold. So you can buy all the things that go with the thing that you want to do. But if you don't have the discipline to learn it and use it and execute, you're not going to get the benefits. Work consistent and smart, not just hard. Some people really beat themselves up by just working hard every day, and they don't always take a long enough breather from working hard to understand there may be a smarter way to do this, and that smarter way may allow me to be more consistent at doing what I'm doing. So I'm trying to impart that along with working hard. Don't give up working hard. But along with working hard, work smart and work consistent. That too is an investment into yourself. And lastly, don't put money into dreams without a plan. Even a bad plan makes karmic deposits. Now, again, my Nacho Terriers, if you guys have been following and you watched one of any of the last 30 or so episodes of Nacho Sundays, you know how I feel about making karmic deposits. So when you make a karmic deposit, first of all, let me explain to you what a karmic deposit is. A karmic deposit is doing something that is correct. It's doing the right thing, whether you feel rewarded in that moment or not. You might see a woman walking to her car with more groceries than she can handle, and one of her bags burst on the way to her car, and her groceries are, you know, rolling down the parking lot. You might go and help this woman. You might help her get her groceries together. You might help her put her things in the car. This woman probably doesn't have any money to pay you. She probably, you know, can't do anything for you, but because you're a good person, because your integrity is in the right place and you really don't care who sees you, you do what's right. You make a karmic deposit. So whether or not you can be helped at that time, you still do the right thing, and that puts a deposit into the karmic bank. So karmic deposits, don't just put money into your dreams without a plan, because even a bad plan makes a karmic deposit. Your plan may not work, but because you put the time into it, you planned it, you worked it, you were consistent about it, you were smart about it, and you worked hard, you still made the appropriate deposit to where maybe you generated attention from somebody who can help you. Maybe you generated the attention of someone who's doing something similar and they have a resource you don't, but you can use it. It's important to make sure that you invest in yourself. Discipline, working consistent and smart in addition to hard, and having a plan, not just throwing money at your dreams. I've seen many dreams deferred because all somebody had with the dream was money. You need a lot more than money. You definitely need a plan. You need to know how you're going to execute with the money. And that way it helps you keep track of the money. So this week's knowledge nugget, don't forget to invest in yourself. And that's going to be all for Nacho Sundays. I'm going to slide over to my chat before we get out of here. Misi, I hope I'm saying this correctly. This might even be messy. Said, that's true. Yes, please. I believe those comments came in when I was talking about karmic deposits. Thank you for pulling up to Nacho Sundays, where it's not your opinion, it's Nacho's opinion. I know we got started a little late this Sunday, but you know, we had a slow roll coming back, y'all. But we'll see you guys next Sunday. It will be at 6 o'clock, and we're out.
This wish a nigga was central. Make sure it's holy in your temple. You a vegetable when I'm in the room, and I'm vegetarian when I eat my food. Palms together when I pray on you, cause the chef about to use her favorite tool. Chop, cut, slice, dice. Shit, I ain't even got a knife. Seem like when I spell it in a rhyme, I cut a motherfucker up and serve him over rice.
You ain't the only one to use cashews like you five. But since me goes nuts too, I call it stir fry. Hey, talking my shit. I'm looking at my lips. This kind of big. Bye, y'all.